important part, that is COPO, and it's statement defining, it's mapping, justification, all these things. So let me share the screen. Okay. So welcome all. Today we are going to see three criteria, sub criteria of criteria 1, that is sub criteria 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5. So today's presentation is divided in three parts. So this is first part for sub criteria 1.3, which is about the PO, PSO and its mapping. So let's see. So this is our NBA guidelines for any SAR, where this FDP focus on only criteria 1, outcome based curriculum, 120 marks. In this FDP, we saw sub criteria 1.1, vision, mission, and POs, sub criteria 1.2, curriculum structure and features. And today we are going to see sub criteria 1.3, PO, PSO, and their mapping with the courses. Then 1.4, course outcome and course articulation matrix. And the last point, last sub criteria 1.5, program articulation matrix. So today we are going to see total weightage, that is 55. So 20 marks weightage for sub criteria 1.3, 30 marks weightage for sub criteria 1.4, and 5 marks weightage for 1.5 sub criteria. So this is about the criteria 1. In future, definitely we having a different FDPs workshop for remaining criteria, but this FDP is only focusing on criteria 1. So let's start with our first sub criteria 1.3, which is about a PO, PSO and their mapping with the courses, having a 20 weightage. This 20 weightage is divided in two parts, that is PO and PSO having a 5 marks weightage, and second part, mapping between the courses and PO, PSO, it is having a 15 marks. So for mapping, their justification, it having a more larger weightage in this sub criteria. So we will see. So PO and PSOs, which having a 5 marks weightage. So PO means program outcomes. And the beauty of these POs, we don't have to take any burden of defining POs, because POs are already provided by the NBA. In the revised NBA manual for Tier 1, it is mentioned that total 11 POs. So we have to follow that POs, and all POs are in line to Washington Accord. That means if your institute, if your program, if your course satisfying these POs, so ultimately it is satisfying the graduate attribute laid by that Washington Accord. So POs are aligned with the graduate attribute prescribed by NBA, which is nothing but the reflection of skill, knowledge, and attitude your learner should gain during the program, during the course. And the purpose why these PO are provided by NBA, because NBA is a body who is going to aggregate Indian institute, higher educational institute, so that our education standard, our graduate skill set should match to the global level. So our graduate is employable in other country also. Our graduate skill must be up to that level, so that he can practice in his engineering or pharmacy in other country also. So to measure whether the same outcome are having your program satisfying that outcome or not, so these PO are there, and these PO are the measurable things. And why these are given? Because this ensure your graduate are industry ready. That means they are employable. It also ensure this This is in line to what the Washington Accord says. Now, total 11 POs. PO 1, that is about the engineering knowledge. All these POs are already there, available in NBA manuals. So PO1, I am not going in much detail about the explanation of this. So PO1 is the engineering knowledge. Now, what is the mean of engineering knowledge? So it is apply knowledge of mathematics, natural science, computing, engineering fundamentals, and engineering specialization to develop the solution to any complex engineering problem. Then it is known that the application of that engineering knowledge. So it is a PO1. PO2, problem analysis. Identify, formulate, review research literature, and analyze complex engineering problems, reaching a substantial conclusion and consideration for sustainable development. So this is problem analysis. So PO2. Many times we are talking in terms of PO1, PO2. We are not mentioning what is the PO1, PO2. So we have to remember what is the PO1. It is engineering knowledge. PO2 is problem analysis. PO3 is design or development of solution. So you having engineering knowledge and you having that problem analysis skill, so definitely you must be able to design or develop the solutions for any complex engineering problems. Then PO4, it is about the conduct investigation of complex problem. So it is most basically related to the research work where we investigate our findings. Then PO5, it is related to engineering tool users. So nowadays, the modern tools we are using to solve the engineering problems, to predict the trend, or many simulations softwares are there. So we are not required to make a prototype and test it for the failure to assess the data. We can test that product or design in the form of any simulation or using any software. So our graduate must be aware of all these modern tools uses. So that is about PO5. PO6, it is about the engineer and the world. Analyze and evaluate social environmental aspect while solving complex engineering problem for its impact on sustainability with a reference to economy, health, safety, legal framework, culture, and environment. For example, if suppose there is any civil engineer and he is suggesting in particular locality, suppose there must be a dam should be erected. So he must aware of the impact of erection of that dam in the nearby locality, in the nearby livelihoods of the peoples. So it is not as simple as that, okay, I found the catchment area, so I will erect the dam and the problem is solved. No, we have that ability to know what is the impact of any engineering work we are proposing. So that kind of knowledge or skill must be acquired by our engineering graduates. So that is PO6. No doubt these PO are a little bit change with the stream. Suppose this is about the pharmacy, so this will be in line to the pharmacy field. But the PO almost remain the same. But it is just having a sense of the pharmacy, having the sense of the MCA, having the sense of engineering or diploma. So accordingly, ethics, PO7, it is about the ethics. So apply the ethical principle and commit the professional ethics, human values, diversity, and all these things. So it related to the PO7. Next, PO8, it is about individual and collaborative teamwork. So your graduate must have a sense to work in a team, work in a collaboration among the different background people, among the different background stream peoples, engineering, medical, non-medical, non-engineering, or diploma or any other team members, as well as he must be capable to work as an individual. Then about PO9, so communication. Nowadays, it is very, very important to have a good communication, to have a convincing communication. If you have a knowledge, but you fail to communicate it effectively, then that knowledge cannot be passed on in a correct manner. So communication, that is about the PO9. And definitely when we are talking about the communication, so communication with the similar society. That means if I am belong to engineering background, so I am communicating my things with the engineers. So I must have that sound and impactful communication skill. Next, PO10, it is about the project management and finance. So this is mostly related to the projects, final year projects, where the student having a group and they manage all the things about from finance to different team, then design, then manufacturing, testing, all this. So PO10 is basically related to the project work. And the last one, as per the new revised manual, PO11, lifelong learning. So as previously also I explained, lifelong learning is must. The quality having your graduate, it may be from engineering, medical, pharmacy, MCA, any background. So lifelong learning, the thrust to know the more things, to satisfy the curiosity. So he must keep himself upgrading. So that lifelong learning is the PO11. So all these are the PO which is now available with the NBA revised manual. Now PSO. So we don't have any rights to modify the POs, any rights to reduce the number of POs or increase the number of POs. We have to follow all these 11 PO which is mentioned in the NBA manual. So we don't have any rights to change it. Now PSO, program specific outcome. These are actually program based. If the program is mechanical engineering, so PSO will be focus on the mechanical engineering graduate. If it is about civil, so it is related to civil. If it is about pharmacy, so PSO will be about accordingly to pharmacy or MCA. So PSO are the statement that describe what your stream graduate or your branch, your department graduate should be able to do using the knowledge and skill acquiring during that program. So that is program specific outcome. So it is going to change program to program, department to department, you can say. It will be differ. Typically each program must define 2 to 3 PSO, but less than 2 it is not recommended, and more than 3 it becomes little bit difficult to identify and to maintain documentation and to map with all this. So have a 2 to 3 PSOs. Next, what is the purpose of this PSO? So to highlight the unique strength of a particular program, because PO are very generic. So PO, it is not a stream specific or branch specific, or you can say a program specific. PO are in a very generic manner. PSO are program specific. What the graduate of your particular program should have in terms of knowledge, skill, so that he will be absorbed in that stream industries, course industries. So PSO we have to define. Now, if a PSO is a part of a definition of the department, so there is a process, and this process must be documented. So what is the process to define a PSO? So identify program needs. So review the vision mission of your institute, in line to vision mission of your institute. you are already defined the vision mission of your department. Then accordingly, in line to your vision mission of department, you are defining program educational objective. And then to satisfy program educational objective, you have to define PSO in line to all this. And at the same time, we must have a baseline of our graduate attribute, which is mentioned in NBA manual, that is called POs. So first is identify program needs. What is the need of your program? Once any graduate completed your program, then what is the expectation of that graduate? Then collect the input from all the stakeholders. So your stakeholder may be faculty, your industry expert, employee, student, or alumni, professional bodies, or regulatory bodies. So collect the input from all these. Next step is draft program specific competencies. So based on the input, draft 2 to 3 POs. It may be in revision reduced to 3 or 2. But at the initial stage, draft at least 3 to 4 POs, PSOs. And that PSO must be measurable, because somehow we have to prove that whether it is attained or not. And if you are going to prove it, whether it is attained or not, so it must be measurable. And measurable at the same time, it must be achievable within a 4 year of the program. It is not like a PEOs, program educational objective, which is achieved after completion of graduation 4 to 5 years. It is at the end of your completion of the program, at the end of the graduation. So achieve within a 4 year of the program. Relevant to current and emerging industry and technology. So definitely you have to look all these things when you are drafting a program specific outcomes. Next, once the draft is finalized, that draft will be reviewed and refined. So that draft must be produced in front of your board of study, academic council, or many time industry advisory board if you are institute having that. So industry advisory board, you have to submit all these PSO, and they will suggest or recommend some changes or some give the inputs, and accordingly their feedback, their recommendation, we have to refine our PSOs. But personally, I will recommend the PSO must be either 2 to 3. 3 is the enough. Next, approval and documentation. So unless you have a documented approval of your PSO, you cannot disclose it. So we have to take approval. So get a PSO which is refined and then submit it to BOS or academic council. They will check it. If they found some lacuna, they will suggest the correction, or they will approve your PSOs. Once it is approved, then you are free to disclose. Then you can put it on your departmental website, department handbooks, curriculum document, or any other, even though in lab or staff cabins, you can display there also. Now the next is mapping and assessment. So as I said, we have to define a PSO which must be measurable, which must be achievable. So definitely we have to map it and assess it. So map course outcome, that is COs, all subject outcomes, COs, and program outcome, POs to PSOs. So all courses having their own COs, course outcome, that course outcome must be mapped with a PO and PSO. So 11 POs and whatever be the number of PSO you are defining. So we have to map all this with your COs. Define attainment level and assessment method. Okay, one thing I just missed. So if you are belongs to tier 1, so you are designing your curriculum, so you have to design your you have to frame your course outcome. If you are belongs to tier 2 institute, so that time you don't have any right to design your curriculum, but you may modify your COs if required. If you found, then you may modify your COs, but definitely there will be a process, there will be a approval of your modified CO. And once the modified CO is approved, then you can use that CO. But we have to produce the evidence of that modification in front of your visiting committee. So in later side, later on, we will see how to frame the course outcome statement, COs. Now, one of the sample we will see, this PSO is for Department of Mechanical Engineering. So suppose PSO 1, apply principle of mechanical engineering to design, analyze, and manufacture mechanical system and process. So this is not about the POs. It is other than PO, and it is program specific. So according to my program of mechanical engineering, I found that my graduate must acquire this skill. So he must be able to apply principle of mechanical engineering to design, analyze, and manufacture mechanical system and processes. So what is the justification for defining this? So core mechanical competency expected by employer, ensuring graduate can handle uh, design to production cycle. So when I take a input from industry, so that time they suggested they will give the input that your graduate coming out after the 4-year program. So we required such kind of quality he must have, such kind of skills set he must have. So accordingly, from their input, I frame this PSO. So apply principle of mechanical engineering to design, analyze, and manufacture mechanical system and processes. So along with the 11 POs, this should be satisfied at the end of your program. Second PSO, use advanced computational tools just like CAD CAM, CAE, simulation technique for product development and optimization. So this is also the requirement of a mechanical engineering graduate after completing of the program. And what is the justification? Because nowadays all industry using modern tools. So my graduate, if he don't aware of all these modern tools, so he will struggle in the professional life, and no industry going to train in. Okay, so no industry going to train or teach all these modern tools software. Your graduate must aware of this. They will maybe given a you can say the small training related to their expectation, but they are not going to teach that software. Correct. So your graduate must aware of all these modern tools. So this is the second PSO. So accordingly, stream to stream, the PSO statement may change. If it is belong to civil, so what is the civil graduate expected to absorb outside in professional life? So accordingly, PSO will be defined. Now the next second point of sub criteria 1.3, which having a 15 marks weightage, that is a mapping between the courses and the PO and PSO. So defining POs, it is not our part because it is already defined by NBA. Defining PSO, it is a departmental part. And as I explained, what is the process to define PSO? And as per my recommendation, there must be 2 to 3 PSO, not more than 3. It is not recommended. Now the second part, that is mapping between courses and POs and PSO. So courses, how we are to map, so we have a program outcome, POs, total 11 POs. Then program specific outcome, PSO, which we have defined as a department. We have defined and take a approval of this. So we have a POs, 11 graduate attribute as per the NBA. We have defined 2 to 3 PSOs. And now all these we have to map with our courses. So our curriculum should be such that which is going to map PO and PSO. And the mapping is on the basis of grades, that is 3 for strong, 2 for moderate, 1 for weak. And suppose it is not mandatory that all courses will be mapped all the POs or PSO. Suppose many PO or PSO will not map by that particular course, so put the dash, because that course don't have any relation with that PO or PSO. In that case, you have to put a dash. So don't do that forcefully mapping all the POs or PSO. It is never possible for a single course to map all PO and PSO. A single course maps few PO or might be one PSO. So accordingly, we have to map this. For example, suppose I am talking about mechanical engineering subject thermodynamics, which is strongly contribute to PO1 engineering knowledge and PSO1 mechanical design. So designing any thermal system, I have the knowledge of thermodynamics, so that the thermodynamic course is strongly mapped with PSO1 during designing mechanical systems. Also, I have to use that thermodynamics knowledge, theorems, their concept, their formulas, that engineering knowledge to solve the complex engineering problem. So that subject also mapping strongly with PO1. But the PO7, environment and sustainability. So thermodynamics subject is not mapping strongly with that PO7. It is weekly mapping, so I will put 1. If it is moderately mapping, so I will put 2. So likewise, so mapping will be accordingly strongly 3, moderate 2, weak 1, or if there is no relation, then map with dash, no relation with. Next is so we have to provide this table where we have a courses. Courses means subject, in short subject. In general language, we are saying the subject. So for example, first year courses, there is a engineering mathematics 1, engineering physics, engineering chemistry, engineering mathematics 2, engineering graphics. So because of space limit, I have not mentioned all the subjects, but we have to prepare such a way. And many times it is asked to provide us information on the basis of sample. That means two core subjects from each semester. So if the requirement of providing such data on the basis of any 2 core subject from per semester, so we can prepare such tabulated information. In this, first column is for class, first year engineering, second year engineering. Second column is for semester. So first semester, I took 2 subjects, engineering mathematics and engineering physics. Second semester, I use this engineering mathematics 2 and engineering graphics. In second year, semester 3, engineering mechanics, thermodynamics. Semester 4, strength of material and manufacturing process. So I have to list down all the subjects in my program from first year to final year. Now the vertical columns for POs. So total PO are 11. So PO 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 11. And here suppose I'm mentioning a PSO 3. So PSO 1, PSO 2, PSO 3. So I am mapping course with the PO and PSO. Remember the whole course. I'm talking about the whole course. I'm not talking about the unit wise. Engineering mathematics 1 first unit is different, second unit is different, third unit is different. So I am averagely talking about the whole subject. For example, second year engineering mechanics, second year engineering, third semester engineering mechanics. Here I am mentioning that PO1 is strongly mapped, so it is mapped by 3. PO2 is also strongly mapped, so mapped by 3. But PO3, 4, and 5, it is moderately mapped. So I mentioned here it is moderately mapped. Then PO6 is weakly mapped. Remaining PO 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It is not mapped. It don't have any relation with engineering mechanics. So I put the dash. PSO. So PSO 1 is mapped by engineering mechanics. So strongly mapped. So 3. PSO 2 is moderately mapped. So 2. But it is no relation with PSO 3. So I put the dash. So it is not mandatory that your any subject, any course will map to all. Whatever be the maximum possible, we have to map. If it is not, if it don't have any relation, then skip it. Then similarly, for third year, I took 2 subjects from semester 5, then semester 6. Final year, semester 7, semester 8. So I make a summary, tabulated summary, and mapping all these. Mostly, final year subject are mostly mapped to all PO and PSO, but it is not necessary. Again, it will differ subject to subject. For example, in final year mechanical design of machine element, so it is not mapped with PO6 and PO8. The remaining 3 subjects are mapped. It doesn't mean the other subject of final year, 4th year will map. Might be the different subject will not map PO or PSO. So this mapping course, this is not a mapping of a COs. This is a mapping of subject with PO and PSO. So as a whole course, as a whole subject, how it is mapped with PO and PSO, we have to provide this data. Then next, course-wise justification. Now, once I have said that this particular subject, for example, engineering mechanics, is mapped with a PO1 strongly. So I mentioned 3. It is mapped, suppose PO2 strongly. So mention 3. If it is mapped moderately, I mentioned 2. And suppose engineering mechanics is mapped with a PSO1 strongly 3, and it don't have a relation with other POs, suppose. It is definitely varying subject to subject, stream to stream. So suppose I am mentioning in that table, so my engineering mechanics subject of first year mapping to only PO1 strongly, PO2 strongly, PO3 moderately, and PSO1 strongly. So I have to give the justification. So why it is mapping strongly with PO1? Course applied principle of physics and mathematics to solve mechanical problem. So engineering knowledge related. So PO1. So it is strongly mapped. PO2. Student learn to resolve real world mechanical engineering and mechanical system problems. So it is again strongly mapped. PO3 related basic exposure to design analysis and structure of the machine. It is basic exposure, the fundamental information related to design and analysis of structure. So it is not mapped strongly. So it is mapped moderate. PSO 1, whatever be the PSO statement I have mentioned for my stream. Suppose engineering mechanics is mapping that PSO. So I will mention here it is mapping PSO 1. Suppose here I mentioned that it is mapping strongly. Why strongly? Because engineering mechanics subject foundation for later design oriented courses. So all design oriented courses, especially in mechanical engineering or civil engineering, are based on the knowledge of this engineering mechanics. So it is strongly mapped with PSO1, but it is not mapped with PSO2 or PSO3. So this is justification for individual PO mapping. Why it is 3, why it is 2. Now as a whole subject, I have to give the separate justification, which is written in blue color. That is justification. This course, this subject, engineering mechanics, build analytical and problem solving ability, laying the foundation for core mechanical courses. So this is my justification for mapping of my course engineering mechanics with all these POs. So we have to justify individually PO wise, why it is mapped with 3, why it is mapped with 2. And as a whole course, we have to give one summarized statement, why it is mapped with the PO and PSOs. Again, another subject, thermodynamics. So again, thermodynamics subject mapped with PO1, PO4, PO7, and here it is mapped with PSO3. So individually, I am explaining in a one line why it is mapped strongly or moderately or weakly. And as a whole subject, whole course, thermodynamics, I am providing a justification for this. Provide essential knowledge for power plant, IC engine, and sustainable energy. So this justification must be there so that I can say this course is somehow mapping with POs and PSOs. Strongly or weakly, already I am mentioning about. So PO is strongly. Why strongly? So I have to elaborate it. PO4 moderately. Why moderately? So I have to elaborate it. Then third year subject, CAD CAM. So likewise, each and every subject, whatever with the mapping is there, we have to provide a justification as an individual PO wise as well as a whole course wise. Now we are moving ahead to second part. Second part, that is sub criteria 1.4. So in first part, we have to define PSO and we have to map it and we have to give the justification of mapping of courses with PO and PSO. Remember, I am talking about the mapping of courses with PO and PSO, not course outcome with PO and PSO. Course outcome and course articulation matrix is a part of this sub criteria 1.4. So sub criteria 1.4, course outcome and course articulation matrix, which having a 30 marks weightage, and this is divided in two parts and each part having a 15 marks weightage. Course outcome semester wise 15 marks, and mapping between course outcome and PO PSO 15 marks. So let's see first point, course outcome semester wise. Sorry, by mistake it is mentioned 5 marks, it is actually 15 marks. So provide course outcome COs for 2 core courses per semester from first to 8th semester as a sample. Now itself in manual they are asking to provide not for all the courses. Per semester only any 2 courses. We have to provide that data. It doesn't mean we should not prepare the others for other courses. We have to prepare for all the courses, but at the time of submission of SAR, we have to provide on the basis of sample, where from each semester we have to provide 2 core courses, course outcome and their mapping. So course outcome COs are what the student should be able to do at the end of the course. That means if he complete that particular subject, so what should he, at what level he should be there so that he can perform, do and understand and demonstrate his knowledge. So we have to give that statement, that is known as the course outcome. And course having a different units, unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. So unit wise, you have different course outcome statement. So there will not be a single statement for the whole course. Course having a different unit and different unit focusing on different skill set, different knowledge. So accordingly, we have to frame course outcome statement unit wise or topic wise. Okay, so what is the requirement of a statement of course outcome? So there are actually 4 fields. Whenever you are defining any CO statement, that CO statement having 4 fields: action, knowledge, condition, and criteria. So your statement must fulfill these conditions, these field: action, knowledge, condition, and criteria. But among all these 4, action and knowledge is the mandatory part. So every CO statement must have action and knowledge. Condition and criteria, it is not mandatory, it is optional. So many times it may have a condition part, it may have criteria part, or it may have all 4 parts. But action and knowledge is mandatory part of your CO statement. We will see in detail how to incorporate action, knowledge, condition, and criteria. So action part, it is indicated by the action verb. Occasionally 2 action verb are also used. So many times you observe that in a single CO statement there are 2 action verb. So calculate, action verb, calculate so and so, and analyze, again second action verb. So it is quite possible that single CO statement having a 1 or 2 action verb, but don't use the more than 2 action verb. These action verbs represent the process concerned. Therefore, the CO statement start with the action verb. So any CO statement must be start with action verb. Knowledge part. So after action verb, the information part is known as the knowledge part. So your CO statement having an information part. So it represents the specific knowledge from any one or more of the 8 knowledge category. So basically there are total 8 knowledge category, and your CO statement must have at least 1 or more. But there is no limit. That is as per action part. There is a limitation, that is either 1 action verb or 2 action verb, but more than 2 action verb is not preferred. But about the knowledge part, it is there is no limit that you cannot use the 2 knowledge part or more. At least 1 or more out of total 8 knowledge categories. What are those 8 knowledge categories? So knowledge category include: first is factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, procedure knowledge, metacognition knowledge, then fundamental design concept or principle knowledge, criteria and specification knowledge, practical constraint knowledge, and last 8 one is design instrumentation knowledge. So all these are the 8 category of knowledge. So your knowledge part of CO statement may have either 1 or more. It is accepted. But this is mandatory. Action part and knowledge part is mandatory. Next, condition part. So condition part, it represents the process the learner is expected to follow, or the condition under which to perform the action. For example, in general life, if I am saying you have to travel from, suppose, Pune to Chennai, but by train. So traveling by train is the condition. There are number of options to reach from Pune to Chennai. But if I am applying a condition, you have to travel from Pune to Chennai by train. So by train is a condition. So similarly, your statement may have a condition part if required. So it is optional. If required, you can put the conditional part. If the outcome statement specify the condition, then the learner is expected to perform that action using specific method or under those specific condition. That means if your course outcome statement put the condition, so your learner cannot have other option. He has to follow that condition within that specific method or with specific criteria. He has to solve the problems. So condition part. This is optional. Criteria part, it is also an optional part. So criteria, it represent the parameter that categorize the acceptability level of performance the action. For example, if I'm saying that suppose I am defining any CO for solving the numerical, and for that I'm mentioning the criteria, the answer must be up to 4 decimal. So your answer must be up to 4 decimal. This is the criteria. If I am saying by using suppose Newton-Raphson method, you have to solve this engineering problem by using Newton's Raphson method. So this is a condition. That problem can be solved by other method also, but I put the condition Newton-Raphson method you have to adopt. So that learner must solve that engineering problem by Newton-Raphson's method. If I put the criteria answer up to 4 decimal, so he must find the answer up to 4 decimal only. But all these parts are optional part. The outcome statement may specify certain performance parameter and they indicate the acceptability level. This is also optional. So we will see what is the sample CO statement. Suppose CO statement, calculate major and minor losses associated with fluid flow in piping network. This is basically from fluid mechanics subject of mechanical engineering, or maybe in other civil engineering also having some fluid mechanics subject. So CO statement, calculate major and minor losses associated with fluid flow and piping network. So my the particular unit having all these content. So for that unit, I am defining my CO statement like this. But here, the statement start with the action verb, that is calculate. So calculate is the action verb. So your all CO must start with action verb. The statement start with the action verb calculate. Calculate represent that cognitive process of apply. Next, knowledge element. What is the information? What is the knowledge he is going to gain? So major and minor losses associated with the fluid flow in piping network. If he perform that, if he complete that particular unit, so this knowledge he will gain. He will understand, he will know what is the major and minor losses associated with fluid flow in piping network. So this is knowledge element. So action and knowledge element are mandatory, but there is no any condition or criteria in this CO statement. Suppose another CO statement, determine the dynamic unbalancing condition of a given mechanical system of rigid body subjected to force and acceleration. Suppose this is the my CO statement. Now action verb is determine, the first word, determine. Knowledge element, what to determine? What is the information? Dynamic unbalanced condition. What is the dynamic unbalanced condition? I will come to know once I complete this particular unit. So I will come to know this. So this is knowledge element. Now, what is the condition? Condition is dynamic unbalanced conditions is a knowledge, but I cannot use any case study, any system. The condition apply that for given mechanical system, which is of rigid body and subjected to force and acceleration. So this time in CO statement, I am mentioning condition. So you cannot go to determine dynamic unbalanced conditions for any system. You have to determine dynamic unbalanced conditions for given condition only. That is, given mechanical system of rigid body subjected to force and acceleration. So this is the condition. Under this condition, he has to perform this. Criteria, there is no criteria mentioned in this CO statement. Now another statement, here criteria is also mentioned. Determine the root of a given equation accurate to second decimal place using Newton-Raphson method. Now here the action verb is determine again. Knowledge element, what to determine? So root of the given equation. Then condition, the condition is you have to use Newton-Raphson method only. And the criteria is your answer must be accurate to second decimal place. Here we adopt all the elements: action verb, knowledge element, condition part, and criteria part. So your CO statement may, according to your unit, your course, your content, but defining CO, it is mandatory to have action verb, action part, and knowledge part. It is optional for condition and criteria, but as per the your content, you may put condition. As per the content, you may put criteria also. Now the process of drafting and approval of course outcomes. So now suppose all the course outcome you have defined, but that is your opinion. We have to take a proper approval for that COs. So what is the process? First, understand the course context. Review syllabus prescribed by AICT university or autonomous, whatever with the syllabus curriculum is there. We have to review it. Identify course objective. Then check how this course fit into the overall program curriculum structure. That means we are mapping course with PO and PSOs. Then inside that course, we have to check what is the content of your unit. Then refer the program outcome, because ultimately it is going to map the POs and PSOs. So we have to refer the statement of PO and PSOs. And in line to that, we have to try to map as per the content of that particular unit of a course. Then we have to use Bloom's taxonomy for action verbs. So create, evaluate, analyze, apply, understand, remember, or similar other action verbs we can use. So Bloom's taxonomy having a number of action verbs provided. Then by using all these things, we have to draft our CO statement. Every course, every subject having 5 to 6 units, and that particular unit summarize a particular content or concept. So it is recommended that there is a one CO for one unit. So accordingly, you can prepare a number of CO statement, 4 to 6 as per your content or as per your unit, using that syllabus curriculum, Bloom's taxonomy, POs, PSO statements, and draft your CO statement. And it is directly should not produce in front of any approval body. It must be discussed. There must be a brainstorming session among the faculty, or it may be circulate for faculty for peer review, and then after redefine. So once it is refined by the faculty, Then the draft of COs is presented in front of department academic committee. Department academic committee will check whether its alignment with your PO, PSO and vision mission are there or not. If they recommend some changes, we have to absorb that changes and again refine our statement. Once it is okay by your DAC committee, then it will be produced in front of board of study. For that final draft of CO is submitted to your board of study. That board of study is also having a number of members: HOD, senior faculty, industry representative, alumni, external expert, all these. So they form a board of study. If they approve, definitely that approval or that recommendation will be documented and it will be sent to academic council for final approval. Once academic council approve your COs, then you are free to implement and communicate. Now your CO are finalized. But once your CO is finalized, it doesn't mean you cannot review it or you cannot improve it. If it is required, then on a particular time interval, we have to review and we have to improve as per the recommendation and follow the same step to get approval of new revised CO. Now this is a sample which we have to prepare for each and every subject. When your NBA committee visited your campus, we have to provide all this information. So this is a sample for semester 1 engineering mathematics subject, having a course code BSE 101 ASH. CO number 1234. So it is recommended that your course code must be the first part and then 0.123 is the number of COs. Course outcome statement. So as per the unit, here we have to frame your outcome statement. And as I explained, all CO must start with your action verb. The first is started with apply, second analyze, then apply. Then the second part is knowledge part. If there is a requirement of condition, then apply the condition in your CO statement. If there is a requirement of criteria, then put the criteria part in your CO. It is not mandatory for condition and criteria. It is optional. If it is a requirement of the content of your unit, then you can use that condition and criteria part. This is the second sample for engineering graphics and application. So it is started with action verb, understand, apply, then imagine. These are the different action verbs. It is available with Bloom's taxonomy. Next part is second part. Again, 15 marks weightage, mapping between the course and course, of course, COs and POs and PSOs. So we have to provide a matrix with the SAR where at least 2 core courses per semester from 1 to 8, all 4-year semester. So per semester, any 2 subject or 2 courses, we have to provide that tabulated information. But we backside, we have to prepare for all the subject. With the SAR, we have to provide on the sample basis each semester 2 core subject, 4 courses. We have to make that mapping matrix and we have to provide that. And for mapping, the levels are 3 with highly mapping, 2 moderately mapping, 1 lower mapping, and dash if there is no correlation. We will see how to look like that course articulation matrix. So here we are providing PO and PSO mapping with COs. So every course, every subject having its defined 5 to 6 COs as per the unit, as per the content. So we have to prepare every subject such a sheet, and with SAR we have to provide only 2 courses per semester, but we have to prepare for all subject, all courses. For example, here we took a strength of materials subject, which having a course BCV 301. Course outcome COs, it is mentioned in first column. First CO is apply concept of stress, strain, and elasticity. Likewise, the fifth CO is analyze beam and shaft for strength and deflection. And another columns first are for program outcome PO 1 to 11, and second 2 is for program specific outcome PSO. Suppose this program I am mentioning only 2 PSO. So PSO 1 and PSO 2. If there are 3, then PSO 1, 2, and 3. Now here I found that the first CO is mapped with PO 1 strongly 3, moderately with PO 2, and there is no mapping, no relation with other POs, but there is a relation with strongly relation with PSO 1. So again mapping by 3, but there is no relation with PSO 2. Likewise, for every CO I have to mention, I have to tabulate. But it is not mandatory that your every course having a mapping with all PO PSO. Course to course it varies. Suppose CO 5, it is strongly mapping with PO1, PO2, PO3, PO4, it is moderately mapping. Then there is no mapping, no relation with other. Then PSO1 is mapped with 3 and PSO2 mapped with 2. Then I have to make an average of all these mapping points. So if it is not mapped with any CO, then we should not consider that point. So here, suppose for PO1, only CO1 and 5 map with PO1. So 3 plus 3, 6 divided by 2. So average is 2. Likewise, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5 will be there. And it is also quite possible that after all the COs, some PO remain unattended because of that structure of the course. For example, PO5 is not mapped, PO6 is not mapped, PO7 is not mapped, PO8 is mapped by 2, but it is not shown that mapped by CO1 or 5. It may be mapped by CO3, CO4, which is I am not mentioning here. CO9, nowhere it is mapping. So average mapping is dash. PO10, average mapping is dash. PO11, mapped by 2. It is mapped by maybe 3, 4 CO. PSO mapped by 3 and PSO2 mapped by 2. So it is quite possible some PO or PSO will not map by your particular course. Now justification. For this mapping, we have to provide a justification. So why it is mapping with high? For example, when your CO directly address the PO and PSO, so we can say it is mapped with 3. For example, suppose solving complex problem using core engineering principle, which is related to PO1. So if your unit or your content is strongly addressing this PO1, so we can map it by 3. If it is moderately mapping with your CO, then we can map with 2. And if it is lowerly mapping with your PO or PSO, so map with 1. And many times it is no relation with that particular PO, so put a dash. And for that, we have to give the justification. So we have to prepare a justification table also for that particular subject. So here I am taking a second subject, applied thermodynamics, BCV 202. Now course outcome, COs, I have mentioned here, CO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is started from applied, analyze, conduct, use, evaluate. The mapping with PO, So CO1, applied law of thermodynamics and engineering system. It is mapping with PO, that is engineering knowledge. It is mapping only with PO1 and the mapping level is 3. So my justification, direct application of fundamental science and engineering principles. So I map it 3. Also, it is possible that CO1 is also mapping with PO2, PO3 or PSO1. So I have to give the explanation, justification for that. Here I am not mentioning like that. I am mentioning only one PO or PSO. But it is quite possible that CO1 is mapping with PO1, PO2, PO6, PO7, PSO1. So I have to make a table like this. And for every mapping, here PO1 is mapped with 3. Then after that, I will mention that PO6 map with 2. Its explanation, its justification. Then PSO map with PSO1 map with 3. So justification. Then after I will mention CO2. CO2 also map with a number of POs and PSO. So if it is mapped, so what is the level of mapping and what is its justification? So I have to prepare this justification table also. Now the process for justification of mapping between COs and PO and PSO. It is not like that I thought, so I map it. It is not like that. So what is the step? First, define CO outcomes. As we saw, the CO statement definition, it must have action, verb, knowledge, then condition and criteria. Then identify the relevance with PO and PSO. So your CO will map with which PO and PSO, and it which PO and PSO don't have any relation with your CO. We have to identify that. Then we have to identify the level of mapping, whether it is strongly mapping, moderately or lowerly. Then collect the evidences, collect the justification. Why, if it is mapping strongly, so why it is mapping strongly? Okay, this PO related to engineering knowledge, and my CO is saying that application of all the principles and all these things to solve the engineering complex problems. So okay, it is strongly mapping. So likewise, we have to collect the evidences, documented evidences. Then document the justification. Just I shown that justification table should be documented. Then validate through department process. So again, we have to follow to check, refine, and take approval of this justification table. So once we receive a justification from your academic council, your CO is approved, and the justification of COPO mapping is also approved. We have to produce these evidences in front of your committee. The last part, that is sub-criteria 1.5, program articulation matrix. This program articulation matrix having only 1 point and having a weightage of 5. And this is nothing but the total courses of the program, how it is mapping with PO and PSO. So up to now, we saw how the course as a whole map with PO and PSO, how the course outcomes, COs, it may be 4 or 5, map with PO and PSOs. Now we are making articulation matrix for all the courses from first year to final year, how it is going to map with PO and PSO. And when, suppose my first year, first semester having 5 subjects, first year, second semester having 5 subjects, likewise, every semester having 5 subjects, and total semesters are 8. First year 2 semesters, second year 2, third year 2, final year 2 semester, and every semester suppose 5 subjects. So total semester 8. So total subjects are 40. So I have to show how my total 40 subjects from the first year to final year mapping with PO and PSO. Here your program articulation matrix showing that somehow some courses will map some PO, some PSO. Other courses will map other PO, PSO. But as a whole, when I am talking about total 40 subjects from first year to final year, all PO and PSO will be mapped. It may be moderately or strongly or weakly, but it should not having any deficiency. That means it is not possible that your any PO or PSO remain unmapped after all the subjects. This is not possible. So that is called the deficiency. So program articulation matrix. So program articulation matrix is a tabular representation that shows how all the course outcome of all subject from first year to last year from different courses collectively contribute to attain the program outcome POs and program specific outcome PSOs. It is essentially to consolidate view at the program level. So it is showing the whole program, how that whole program is contributing to attain your outcomes, PO and PSOs. If your PO and PSO are attained, so definitely it is going to help to attain your POs. If POs are attained, that means it is in line to your mission and vision of department. It is in line to then vision and mission of your institute. So prepare a course articulation matrix from semester 1 to semester 8. Aggregate course PO and PSO mapping, that will make an average. Then many institute normalize it. Whatever be the average values, they normalize it in terms of moderate, strong, that means highly mapped, moderately mapped, or lowerly mapped. So it is said that normalizing your articulation matrix. So high, medium, low. On this basis, they will normalize. We will see the examples. So sample of program articulation matrix. Now, because of space, I am not mentioning total 40 subjects, but we have to prepare for all the subjects from semester 1 to semester 8. Each and every subject we have to consider here. Suppose here I am mentioning engineering physics. So engineering physics having its own 5 COs. When I prepare a course outcome mapping with PO and PSO, so all 5 COs are mapping matrix is there for engineering physics. And when I make an average of that, so I got one single row of average mapping of POs and PSO with my that particular subject COs. So these are the average values of particular subject. So engineering physics mapping PO1 3, PO2 2, then PO3 no relation, PO4 lowerly mapped, PO5 moderately mapped, PO6 7 8 no relation, PO9 mapped with the 2, PO10 11, PSO1 and PSO2 there is no relation. Likewise, I have to mention the mapping of each and every subject from semester 1 to 8. And when all subjects are there, when this all articulation matrix is prepared, then I have to make an average of this all column. So average becomes, suppose first is 3, then 2.6, 1.5, 1.3, 2.7, 1.5, 2.3, 2.5, 1.4, 2.2, 2.4, 2 and 2.5. So if the average mapping is more than 2.5, I am mentioning it is highly mapped, strongly mapped. So 3 is mapped with highly, so H. 2.6 is highly mapped. 1.5, it is moderately mapped. If it is less than 1.5, I will say it is lowerly mapped. So 1.5, it is moderately mapped. Next PO4, it is mapped with 1.3. Average mapping is 1.3. So I say it is lowerly mapped. PO5 2.7, so highly mapped. PO6 Average mapping is 1.5, so moderately map. 2.3 moderately map. 2.5 highly map. 1.4 lowerly map. Then 2.2 moderate. 2.4 moderate. Then second last PSO map with average mapping is 2, so moderately, and the PSO2 average mapping is 2.5, so highly map. So in the next stages, we have to work to improve this mapping. Whatever be the PO map with lower, we have to take action. We have to take a corrective action in designing your curriculum, designing your tutorials, practicals, so that it will map with a higher level. If it is mapped moderately, we have to take actions to get mapped with higher level. Likewise, we have to take a revision. So this is the program articulation matrix. For this, there is a weightage of 5 marks. So this is the end of today's session. So today's session is about 1.3, 1.4 sub-criteria and 1.5. So hence, within the last 5 days, we are here together to see only the criteria 1, in which first session was on outcome-based education, second session was on NBA accreditation system, and from third session to today's session, we are talking about the criteria 1. So first session for sub criteria 1.1, second session, that is session 4, it is for criteria 1.2, and today's session it is related to criteria sub criteria 1.3, 1.4 and 1.5. So this is all from my side. So thank you all. Let me stop recording.